Hi, everybody. I have a story to read to you today called The Very Noisy Night. And if you look at the cover here, you can see there's a little mouse, and it looks like he's probably a little bit scared, maybe because of the very noisy night. Now, in the fall and in the springtime, sometimes we have some crazy weather out there. So I want you guys to think about what kind of noises that you might hear at night. The Very Noisy Night. It was the middle of the night, and Big Mouse was fast asleep in his big bed. Little Mouse was wide awake in his little bed. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear something rushing around the house, huffing and puffing. Big Mouse opened one eye and lifted one ear. It's only the wind, he said. Can I come in your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. There isn't room. And he turned over and he went back to sleep. Little Mouse lay listening to the wind. Then suddenly, between a huff and a puff, came a tap, tap, tap. Little Mouse climbed out of bed, opened the front door just a crack, and peeked in. Whoosh went the wind, but there was no one outside. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear something tapping. I think there's a burglar on the roof. Do you guys think it's a burglar? Big Mouse got out of bed and opened up the bedroom curtains. Look, he said, it is only a branch tapping on the window. Now go back to sleep. Can I come in your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. You wiggle. Are you guys wiggly sleepers? My daughter is. Little Mouse laid in his own bed and listened to the wind, huffing and puffing, and the branch tap, tap, tapping, and someone calling, hoo, 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 hoo. Little Mouse climbed out of bed again. This time he looked under it. Then he looked in the wardrobe, and feeling very frightened, he yelled, Big Mouse, I think there's a ghost in the room, and it is looking for something. He keeps calling, hoo, hoo, hoo. Big Mouse sighed, sat up, and listened. It is only an owl, he said. It stays up at night like you. Can I come in your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. Your paws are always cold. Big Mouse pulled the blanket over his head and went back to sleep, and Little Mouse got back into his own bed. Little Mouse sat up and listened to the wind, huffing and puffing, and the branch tap, tap, tapping, and the owl hooting. But shh, what was that? Big Mouse, he called. I think it's raining inside. And Little Mouse jumped out of bed and fetched his red umbrella. Big Mouse got out of bed too. He opened up the front door to see if it was raining at all, and then Big Mouse went into the kitchen and turned off the dripping faucet. He gently pried the umbrella out of Little Mouse's paws, and he put it away. Can I come in your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, you're nice and snug in your own bed, said Big Mouse, taking him back to his bedroom. Little Mouse laid and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tap, tap, tapping, and the owl hooting, and just as he was beginning to feel very sleepy indeed, he heard, wee, wee, wee. Big Mouse, he called, you're snoring. Weary, Big Mouse got up. He put his earmuffs on Little Mouse's ears. He put a paper clip on his own nose, and he went back to bed. Little Mouse laid and listened to nothing. It was very, very, very quiet. He couldn't hear the wind huffing or the branch tapping, or the owl hooting, or Big Mouse snoring. It was so quiet that Little Mouse felt he was all alone in the world. He took off the earmuffs, he got out of bed, and he pulled the paper clip off of Big Mouse's nose. Big Mouse, he cried. I'm lonely. Big Mouse flung back his blanket. Better come into my bed, he said. So Little Mouse hopped in, and his paws were cold, and he needed just a little more wiggle before he fell asleep. Big Mouse laid and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tapping, and the owl hooting, and Little Mouse snuffling. And then, very soon, he heard the birds waking up, but neither of them heard the alarm clock, because they both were fast asleep. The end. That was a cute little story. Did you guys like it? I bet you like to wiggle when you get in bed with your parents, don't you? Yes, my daughter is a very wiggly sleeper. I hope you guys liked the story, and I will see you next time for another one. Bye.